Hey guys, Jonathan Gardner here from JonathanAGardner.com and BlogInSource.com. I'm here to wanted to talk about Visual Studio 2010 with its latest release coming out just a few short weeks ago. I've been exploring some of the offerings that it has for database developers and DBAs. Today I wanted to cover some of the items that are available with regards to deployment. So I've got a copy of Visual Studio open here. I happen to have a project created, but so I'm going to go ahead and open that. This is just an example database project. Get this loaded up so you can take a look at what the standard screen looks like. Now, when we open it up, you'll see that this is what we have in Solutions Explorer over here on the left. What I wanted to show today is the deployment settings, and all the deployment settings can be found in the Properties screen. So if we right click on the top of the tree, we can go to Properties, and this will open up the Properties window. And when you come in and open it from default, this is the information you'll see. Get some information about the project settings. You can see some pre-build, post-build commands. This should be real familiar to some developers out there. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is the deployment settings. What I'm able to do with Visual Studio 2010 is create different deployment scenarios. So for this instance, I have two different configurations. I have my release configuration and I have a debug configuration. In my debug configuration, what I want is to be able to deploy this to my testing server, run tests against this any particular scripts that I'm working with, store procedures, settings, schema changes. So I'll be able to run those in a test environment, and then I've also got a a release configuration so that when I'm ready to build and release that, I can handle that a little bit differently. So in this case, we have my debug configuration selected. Now, default for the deploy actions is to create the deployment script. This essentially means that it will create a script to build all of the items that you've created in your project. For my test environment, I want to be able to create that script and then deploy it. So I don't have to take that extra step and copy everything out from the deployment script or open the deployment script in Management Studio and run it. I wanted to go ahead and deploy that information out. So this is just where I name my script, and this shows the target database. So in this case, I have the instance set up on my local computer for us to take a look at, and we can deploy straight to this database. And then I have the database name set. I can edit this, and you can see that I can, when this opens up, that we'll be able to change any of the connection properties. So I can have multiple settings here, or I can change the settings in this window. Deployment configuration file and SQL command variables. If I wanted to create new ones, you can see over on the right-hand side of this property tree here that these are already set. I don't want to change any of those. But this is just a little look at the configuration settings here. So what I'll do is I'll save this, and we'll do a test. So I've expanded the schema tree here, and I can see that I have database level objects. What I'm going to do is add a new folder for my store procedures, and I'll create a new store procedure, and I'll leave this name procedure 1. And as you can see, you get some pre-built templates for what this procedure is going to look like. I'm going to remove some of these items here and just do a standard select statement. Save everything. So now when we come up to build, we can build this solution. You can see down in the bottom right corner here that my build succeeded. I'll go ahead and deploy this. Let's see that my deploy was successful. Go ahead and open up Management Studio here. Here's my example database. Go down to programmability and store procedures. We'll be able to see that procedure 1 was created. If we were to modify that store procedure, we would see exactly what we wrote down. So that's one way I can build this store procedure, test it out in my environment, so I can deploy automatically from development inside of Management Studio. Now, if I were to make a change to this store procedure, the problem with this is I actually don't even have a table 1. So I'll go ahead and create that now. Call this table 1. Table 1 ID, so I save this. If we check on Management Studio here, what you'll see is that we have no tables. There's no user-defined tables. So remember, we've made a change to the store procedure and we've created this table. So we'll save this. And again, we'll build example 1. And then we will deploy the solution. You can see it altered the procedure, so it knew that it had already created the procedure, so it didn't have to drop and recreate it, and it created the table that wasn't there. So that succeeded. So now when we come here and we refresh our table list, you can see the table 1 is here. So that's just a small example of how you can use the deploy from Microsoft's Visual Studio 2010 for database projects. Thanks for watching. This has been Jonathan Gardner presenting database deployment with Visual Studio 2010.